Hey everybody, Mike here. Welcome back to Bigwood Mountain. Got some fir logs here today that I'm going to cut up. It's bundle season. The weather's turned real nice and a lot of people are camping out and needing bundle wood for their campfires. I don't sell too many bundles during the winter. It's pretty much a summertime thing for me, spring and summer. And around early fall it falls off. So basically when the campgrounds are crowded around here, it's bundle season for me. Filled an order yesterday, and I don't really like to split these fir logs up until the spring. I let them sit in logs because even if I keep them totally dry, they tend to get a lot of black mold on them, and doesn't make for a good looking bundle. So usually try and do most of the splitting of the fir in the early spring, and it'll dry out in just a few months, especially if the logs have been sitting for a while. So that's what I got going on today. Been considering switching to bags from bundles. I got a real nice bundle machine, the WB120, and it makes 1.5 cubic foot bundles, and I can put a little shim in there and make 0.75 cubic foot bundles. And I definitely sell the most of the 1.5 cubic foot, which is a lot larger than the average size. But with the bagging, I haven't found any bagging rigs that will accommodate 1.5 cubic feet. I know Wolferidge makes a nice little unit, but they don't offer it in 1.5 cubic foot, and so might have to make my own, or I'm not totally sold on going to the bags. But I did have some bundles break apart on me yesterday, and I ended up having to bring them back home and rewrap them. The wrap had been sitting in my machine all off season, so I think probably just sitting out, it deteriorated a little bit, so I got a new roller wrap on there and rewrapped them up, and they seem to be fine after that. And I haven't really ever had a problem with that in the past, but it does take a long time to wrap them, and then bouncing up and down my dirt road, some of them do end up getting loose, and usually need to bring a few extra. So I'm thinking the bags might be a nice way to go, but I'm sure they've got their downsides too. Definitely cost more for the bags, and I don't think my customers want to pay any more just to have the bags as opposed to the wraps. And I think the wraps show a little better. People can see what they're getting, and they notice that there's stacks of firewood there. And so I think for a retail situation, the wraps kind of show themselves off a little better. But that's what's been on my mind. If y'all got any thoughts on that, let me know. But yeah, I'd like to see somebody come out with a little larger, nice bagging unit. Not a full-on automated one. I'm not there yet, but maybe just something like the Wolferidge has out, where they fill it and dump into the bags. I did the math on it, and basically if you're cutting 16-inch length pieces, you need about 14.5-inch wide cylinder, so bigger than a 5-gallon bucket. And I'm sure I could probably find something. I noticed there's some 10-gallon buckets and little mini trash cans and stuff out there, but they all kind of taper towards the bottom and get narrower. So if you fill it up at the top and then let it drop through the bottom, it's going to bottleneck there. So might just be rolling up some tin or sheet metal, or trying to figure out a way to do that. But I'll think it over, because yeah, there is a lot more cost with the bags. I haven't seen those bags for less than $1 anywhere on the internet, especially big enough for 1.5 cubic foot. So I know 0.75 is pretty much the standard, but with any camping situation, you're going to need multiples of those. They're easier to move around. The 1.5s are a little heavier, but there's a lot of labor in wrapping them, so it's just a better deal to get at least a 1.5 cubic foot bundle. You're going to burn at least that much in a couple hours, so you're going to need it, and it's that much less labor than having to wrap 2 of them, and then you can pass that savings on to whoever's buying it. So I like the 1.5s. Much bigger than that, it's hard to move around, but most of my customers prefer the 1.5s to the 0.75s or 1.0s, so that's definitely what I have the most going out of. So yep, that's where I'm at. And yeah, we're gonna cut up some fir and get it split and get it drying. These logs have been drying for several months, so it shouldn't take too long out in the sun and wind that we got going on now to get them dried out and ready for people to use for their campfires and roast some marshmallows and hot dogs and whatnot. We'll get to it. Thanks for tuning in.